Why product knowledge and knowing too much about your product or service can kill your sale. Hey, we've all heard it. The more you know about your product, the more you'll sell. It sounds logical, but here's the thing. In real life, too much product knowledge can actually cost you the sale. I know that might sound strange, but if you stick with me, I'm going to explain exactly why this happens and what to do instead. I'm Brian Brereton with That Business Trainer. We created the sales framework, which is perfect if you already have a sales process and you want to amplify it, or if you don't have one, you need a great, strong foundation. We can take care of that with you. Anyway, when you know everything about your product, it's tempting to talk about it. You hear one little thing from a prospect, sounds like a fit, and you can't help yourself. Features, benefits, specs, the menu of everything you do, trying to impress your client. The second you do that, the conversation stops being about them and starts being about you. And that's typically where sales start to break down. Most salespeople, especially when they're proud of what they sell, rush into solution mode, as we discussed in the last video. They think if they just knew how amazing our product is, and when I say product, do you sell a service, product or service, interchangeable depending on your industry. And if they just knew how amazing our product is, they'd say yes. But the reality is jumping into solution too soon creates three big problems right off the bat. You stop diagnosing and you miss the deeper needs. You create objections that didn't exist, and you look like every other salesperson they've ever met, which is what we're all about not being. We don't want to be that bad salesperson. Typically, there are many hidden dangers of too much product knowledge. And this is from companies who spend a lot of time and money teaching their sales reps a lot about products. I sat in a training in the IT industry for a full 2 weeks to learn about products and services. It was horrendous. And at the end of it, I thought, I don't even want to do this anymore. Good conversation with my sales manager kept me there. And I ended up forgetting everything they taught me in that training and being the number one salesperson on the planet for that company. That's why I don't think product knowledge is as high of a tool as most salespeople think it is. The dangers of knowing your product too well, and I've seen these ruin deals even for experienced salespeople. Typically what happens is you focus on what you think is important, not what the customer values. See, you know now a lot about your product and service and you just want to talk about it. So you're going to be excited about some of it, not all of it, and you'll be talking about things and you may have a mismatch. It's also easy to slip into jargon, especially those of you selling in the IT industry. All that insider language, acronyms, tech talk can easily confuse, intimidate, bewilder, or just lose the client. And when people feel confused or lost, they rarely buy. You start answering questions that haven't been asked yet, which can overwhelm or even plant new doubts about things that they didn't have before because of these things you're bringing up. You're skipping the trust building stage. People buy from people they trust. If you lead with product and you lead with what you can do instead of understanding their situation, you shortcut that trust build. You can also, I've seen this happen, where people turn the conversation into a lecture. You're going to tell them everything about your product, shift into teacher mode instead of partner mode, and the buyer will just check out. You'll also sound biased. If you're so in love with your solution, the prospect's going to think you're going to recommend it no matter what, which automatically puts them on the defensive. Not where we want to be in the sales situation or in the structured sales conversation that we want to have. You lose curiosity. You already know your product and service so well, you have all the answers. So you tend to stop asking the deep questions, which is where the real gold lies in any sales conversation. And you actually force the client to anchor on price too soon. Once you start talking about your product and service, they're going to hear features, things, and they're going to start mentally comparing you to others. And the first thing they're going to want to know is how much, when we haven't even got to value or what we can do, or if we should even be helping the client. And it's overwhelming. When there's too much to think about, you're going to, again, force the client into a position that slows or kills deals. The dreaded, let me think about it. Which, by the way, we teach you how not to get. We never end, we never end up in the situation where we have a let me think about it, which is really strange for most salespeople. We also end up, I don't understand salespeople who get ghosted. How did that become a term? It just doesn't happen when you're using the sales framework. So if you want a better way, stick around with us these weeks. So what is the alternative? The alternative, we don't talk about the product. We do what we talked about last week. We stay off the solution. Resist the urge to pitch, even when you know you have something that will help them. You keep diagnosing. You dig deeper. You explore challenges, goals, ripple effects of the problem, impacts, all those levels of need that we need to explore before we propose what we think is a solution. Again, we use that doctor analogy. You go to the doctor, you don't say, oh, my leg hurts, and he instantly starts talking about how he got trained by the best surgeon. He wants to take your leg off. There's a whole lot that goes in before that. Right? We have to understand the whole picture before we prescribe the final, not here's my new saw that I'm going to cut your leg off with. Your clients will expect the same from you. Diagnose before you prescribe. When I was selling computer training, there were salespeople in my company who knew everything about computer training. And I mean everything to the nth degree. I didn't even have a computer at the time. Or maybe I just got one and was just starting to learn. We're talking first computer training sales job, 1998. So it wasn't as common as it is now for everyone to have one, especially your phone. So these salespeople could talk for an hour with system admins and IT directors about systems, platforms, structures, and they loved it. And they jump straight into it and do all this technical stuff. Me, like I said, I didn't have a computer, didn't really care about them. What I talked to them about was their needs. My conversations were the shortest on company record because all I talked to them about was their need. And if they asked, do we do something? I would simply use my 3 favorite words. I don't know. And we'll talk about that in another video. Those are the 3 most powerful words you can say to a client. We have this thing that we have to know everything. We don't. I don't know. And I would say, I don't know. But if that's what you need, I'll find out for you. And I'd come back to them. And so I would talk to them about their needs. I would talk to them about skills gaps in their team. I would talk about what happens if they don't get this training. And they would tell me how important it was. I'd ask them where they currently get training. And then I'd ask them, why aren't they going back there? And of course, they tell me all the reasons why they don't want to use that other training provider, which was good for me. I became #1 in the world for sales in that company. We were the largest computer training company on the planet. We operated in 50 plus, 60 plus countries. There were tens of thousands, literally, of reps like me. And I was able to smash the world record for first month sales without product knowledge. That's how critical I believe that product knowledge can harm you. Everyone else was getting into conversations about computers and computer training. And I was the only one, it appeared to me, that was having conversations about sales needs and what is keeping that guy up at night. So I wasn't the biggest expert on the product, but I was the biggest expert on the client. And that was important. And so how do you use this on your next call? Well, hold your tongue. Even if you see the fit, even if somewhere that sales training product knowledge has come out, you just keep diagnosing. You ask layered questions. You ask them to tell you more about whatever it is they were talking about. You ask questions like, hey, what happens if that continues? How is that affecting other parts of the business? Get agreement on the problem. Confirm it with them before ever talking about the solution. The only time I'm going to talk about my solution is when I'm going to talk about the features of what we do and connect it to one of their stated needs. And if I am going to talk about my product or solution, I'm going to link it to every point. I'm going to link it to everything that they said was important. So yes, I do think product knowledge is important. You should know what you and your company sell. You should believe in what you and your company sell. Hopefully you even use what you and your company sell. But too much product knowledge too soon can sink you. Your real power as a salesperson isn't being the ultimate product expert. It's in being the ultimate client expert. Stay curious, stay off the solution. You'll build more trust. You'll uncover bigger opportunities, and you'll close more deals. If this helps you, please hit like. We'd love it if you subscribe to our channel for more. And next time, we'll talk even more about how to make your discovery calls feel effortless while uncovering more value than your competitors ever will. See you next time.
Money.